In this episode of Parkland Profile, we look at the history of Groundhog Day, some must-watch romance films, and the first annual Parkland TV broadcast from Punxsutawney. I'm Ethan Silver, and Parkland Profile starts now. Groundhog Day has a rich history in Pennsylvania. Here to tell us more about Punxsutawney's claim to fame is news correspondent Rayhan Ali.
Hey Parkland, I'm Rayhan Ali, and let's talk about Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day is an observance day on February 2nd in the United States and Canada. The event consists of a groundhog emerging from its burrow to predict the weather of the next 6 weeks. If the weather is sunny on this day and the groundhog sees its shadow, then the winter weather is going to continue. However, if the weather is cloudy and the groundhog can't see its shadow, then the spring will arrive early. Groundhog Day is celebrated in February because that's the month that groundhogs temporarily come out of hibernation for the winter. Groundhogs enter hibernation in the late fall and come out in the early spring. Punxsutawney Phil is one of the most famous weather-predicting groundhogs, and he's located nearby in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. He's been anticipating the weather since the 1880s. The Punxsutawney Groundhog Day celebration includes musical shows, talent shows, and a banquet. While Punxsutawney claims that Phil is the only true weather prophecy groundhog, many other states have their own groundhogs as well. For example, Alabama has Birmingham Bill, and New York City has Staten Island Chuck. Now let's dive into the history of Groundhog Day. The concept of Groundhog Day was celebrated as early as 900 AD by the Celts, a group of tribes in Central Europe. They celebrated the holiday Imbolc, a festival marking the beginning of spring, by burning lamps and lighting bonfires in tribute to the god Brigid, who was the deity of early spring. As Christianity spread, Imbolc evolved into Candlemas, a festival of distributing and blessing candles for the winter. If the day of the festival was sunny, then it meant 40 more days of cold winter weather. This tradition was then adopted by the Germans, who substituted an animal, the hedgehog, instead of candles. They believed that whether or not the hedgehog saw a shadow would determine the weather. Finally, once the German settlers came to Pennsylvania, they brought the legend with them and replaced the hedgehog with the more common groundhog. In Punxsutawney, a local newspaper editor, Clymer Frias, and a group of businessmen and groundhog hunters, known as the Punxsutawney Groundhog Club, held the first official Groundhog Day celebration in the United States in 1887. Nowadays, Groundhog Day is a modern American tradition and has its roots in pop culture. The day was popularized in the 1993 movie titled Groundhog Day, starring Bill Murray. That was the history of Groundhog Day. I'm Rayhan Ali, and thanks for watching.
To prepare for Groundhog Day, we asked students their predictions on whether or not we'll get 6 more weeks of winter.
I think he's gonna come out and see everyone and be like, poop, this is scary. And not see a shadow, ignore the shadow, and run away. So, I think that's the plan.
He will not see a shadow.
Yeah, I don't think he'll see a shadow.
No, I don't think he'll see his shadow because who doesn't like spring?
No, he will not see a shadow.
No, you're not going to see your shadow tomorrow.
He'll see a shadow.
I'm not a meteorologist, but my guess, he's gonna.
He's gonna see his shadow.
Groundhogs themselves are pretty interesting creatures. Here to tell us more about the Punxsutawney rodent is Mr. Rozicki.
Okay, so it always goes back to the story when I went to Punxsutawney as a kid. All right, my friend had a Christmas tree farm. All right, we're playing hide and seek on the Christmas tree farm, and I hid in a tunnel. Right, and his brother threw a rock, hit me in the head. All right, and as it hit me in the head, right, I needed stitches, so I had to go to Punxsutawney Hospital. And as I was at the hospital, they're stitching me up. They're like, "You got to go see Phil." They told me the whole story about Phil. And it just so happened, right, I go see Phil, right, and I think he gave me some magic, right, in my head, because every time that it's about to rain or snow, right, I get the itchies and scratchies. And all the kids in class, as soon as I start doing this, right, this is where my stitches are. You can still see the stitches, and I think I still have rocks in there from Punxsutawney, right, but I think the magic of the groundhog is in me, right, so now that I can actually, right, tell the weather. All right, so first of all, right, groundhog, right, it'll eat up, right, to about 30% of its volume, right, over the summer and the fall, just so that it can hibernate. And what it does, it stores all over its body, right, all this fat. And that's why they say they never ever eat a groundhog in the fall, right, because it's too fatty. And if you want to go eat an actual groundhog, you can go to Dryville Hotel out by Kutztown, and they serve it, but they only serve it in the spring. So as they come out in hibernation, They eat up all that fat and they're nice and lean, and then they stuff them full of all this, I think it's like nuts and like sausage and all this other stuff, but you can actually eat a groundhog. But the groundhog originally came from the Germans, and one of the things about the Germans was that they wanted to celebrate the end of the winter. So people don't know this, right, but February 2nd is actually the day, right, about 6 months away from, probably 6 weeks away from your spring or your winter. So that's why they always throw it in there, is that it's 6 weeks of the winter or 6 weeks of spring. Okay, so going back about 150 years ago, the groundhog was celebrated because of the fact that it comes out of its hole, the males do, and they find a mate, and it's usually around that time where if it's too cold out, then they go back into their hole. So that's one of the things that they do. But one of the cool things about it is that groundhogs can climb trees, if they get scared. They also have different ways and methods of actually alerting people that they're near them. And one of the things is that they also have really low to the ground, and as they're crawling around on the ground like this, they're always looking up so that anything that is from above is going to attack them. So they actually stay very, very close to multiple holes that are around them so they can dart in and out of them from evading predators. I don't think that he's going to see a shadow this year. That's one of the things that goes back and forth. But as right now, I think I looked up the stats. I think they're only like 20% accurate. But I think that this is one of the days that at Gobbler's Knob, Phil, and the inner circle might be tapping him, waking him up, and hopefully we'll see an early spring this year. So, well, we actually have the most famous groundhog is Phil. Then you guys all know that there's Gus. He actually helps out with the Pennsylvania Lottery. But there are 3 groundhogs that are in Whitehall. Chuck, Ed, and Fred. They live right across the street from Planet Trog. And if you're driving down, you go and see the mall. If you look across the street from Planet Trog, they're also on Google Maps. So if you bring up Google Maps and you look off to the right-hand side, they're into that grass area there. And it's one of the things, whenever I drive home, I have to go through Parkland to Whitehall, and I always see these guys, and they're actually number 3, number 4, number 5 groundhogs in the state of Pennsylvania.
To find out if Phil would really see a shadow, Parkland TV visited Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania to see what Groundhog Day was really all about. Let's find out. We're here in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, the weather capital of the world. I'm Ethan Earthquake Silver, and you're watching Parkland TV. We'll see pretty good temperatures from around here, around 30 degrees during the day and sunny, while we still have snow on the ground, and at night we have around 15 degrees. Although it'll be pretty chilly, we'll hopefully have lots of people here and a warm atmosphere to make it a little bit easier. This is the gift shop at Gobbler's Knob. Thousands of people come in eager to get their souvenirs from Punxsutawney Phil. We're here with Robert and Pam to ask a few questions about Groundhog Day. So, Robert, you said it was your birthday tomorrow. How does it feel having a birthday on Groundhog Day?
Well, it feels like the same day over and over, just like Groundhog's Day. But I've been looking forward to this. I mean, for years I've talked about wanting to be here on my 60th birthday. I was surprised on Thanksgiving Day by Pam for this trip. We flew in yesterday to Pittsburgh, and we're just staying up the road at a bed and breakfast, and we're just taking in the events. So we're looking forward to it and being here first thing in the morning.
Have you always been this excited about Groundhog Day?
Actually, I have. So I've always talked about Groundhog's Day. We watch the movie quite often as well, and I know Pam's excited about it as well. Being a kindergarten teacher, it's a big celebration for kindergartners as well. So, Pam, you might want to mention a few things about what you do for your classroom.
Absolutely. I teach my kindergartners down in Tampa, Florida about Groundhog's Day and shadows, and they are very excited that I'm going to be here and bring back lots of photos and memories.
You can find these statues of Phil all over Punxsutawney. See if you can find one yourself.
My name is Chef Barnes. I'm a culinary instructor here at IUP Academy of Culinary Arts. In addition to teaching cooking, I also teach the Ice Carving Club, which is an extracurricular activity for the students to take part in. We carve for all the open houses when prospective students come to visit the school and get a look around the building. At our kitchens, they also get a chance to see us carving ice. I've been carving here at the school since I started in 2016. Before that, when I was a student in the program, I actually carved ice as a student with some of the instructors that taught it then. And the program's been here since 92, I want to say. It was the first graduating class. And they've been carving the same kind of setup since then. And I've done the same setup with students since I started doing it.
Will we get 6 more weeks of winter or an early spring? Let's find out. I gotta ask, do you think Phil will see a shadow?
Yes.
Will Phil see his shadow?
I hope so.
I think it's going to be the outcome that everybody wants, so early spring.
No, winter's over.
No.
I'm here with Punxsutawney Phil. Phil, will you see your shadow tomorrow? Riveting. So what brings you guys to Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania?
It's our 20th anniversary today, and we thought, what better way to celebrate it than with a groundhog?
Right. Nothing says romance like watching a groundhog crawl out of the hole in the ground. We went to, at the talent show, we've met the president. He sat in front of us, the president of the Groundhog Club, and he gave us really substantial tokens for Groundhog Club members.
Yeah,
That was really
medallion.
a lot of fun. They're really, really hospitable here. We're having a great time.
And we're going to hit the groundhog ball because, everyone needs to do that one time in their life.
But there's no groundhog stew available anywhere.
We're here in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. From Parkland TV, I'm Ethan Silver.
We're here with Tom, Trent, and Chuck in our search to find the people who came from the farthest place away. So where are you guys from?
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
And what made you want to come to Groundhog Day?
Well, I have a friend, his name is Trent, and his birthday is Groundhog Day.
How does it feel to have a birthday on Groundhog Day?
It's extremely special to be in Punxsutawney on my birthday.
And do you guys think the groundhog is going to see a shadow?
No, I think no shadow. It's going to be an early spring.
I think he will see a shadow based on the weather today.
Definite shadow day.
We're here with Bob, and this is his first time at the Groundhog's Day celebration. So Bob, what inspired you to come down here?
Well, I've been thinking about it for a number of years, but I finally pulled the trigger and came out to celebrate my birthday with Phil, which is tomorrow. So,
how does it feel having a birthday on Groundhog Day?
Hey, it's great. 82 years old, and I finally was able to make it out here. So,
and you've come a pretty long way. Where are you from?
I'm from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, up on Lake Superior, a town called Marquette.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for talking with us.
You're welcome. Thank you, Hannah.
In our search to find people from all across the world, we found some interesting places right here. So where are all of you guys from?
From New Orleans.
New Orleans, Louisiana.
We're San Antonio, we're Canyon Lake, Texas.
Canyon Lake, Texas.
And what made you guys want to come to Groundhog's Day?
Well, my buddy's been coming for 7 years, and he said what a great time it was, so I figured why not?
And what keeps you coming back for Groundhog Day?
Just the great people that are here in Punxsutawney. It's just such a fun, small town, and just love the vibe and all the people that surround a great groundhog. So, Punxsutawney Phil.
And tomorrow is a special day for you. Tell us about that.
Yes, it's my birthday, and my great husband, he actually surprised me. I thought for a minute when we landed in Washington, we were going to Iceland, and we ended up here, which it was even better than going to Iceland. I am so excited, really, really.
And finally, the big question is, do you guys think Phil will see his shadow?
I think he will. I think it's be cool.
100%. See the shadow. See the
I
shadow?
really hope so. Even though in Texas, back home, we had snow for the first.
Sleet.
Snow. Okay,
Snow.
sleet. Okay, sleet. And we have had in Texas 3 years in a row snow. So we're really excited, regardless.
And do you think Phil will see his shadow?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hi, we're here with Nick and Linda and Vicky and JR to talk about their groundhog experiences. So where are you guys from?
Cincinnati, Ohio. Hooray!
And where are you guys from?
We are from Indian Harbor Beach, Florida.
And why did you guys want to come to Groundhog Day?
We have come here a couple of times already. This is our 3rd time. It was on my bucket list, and after time number 1, we've kept coming back because we love it so much.
How many times have you guys come?
This is time number 3.
And you guys have a special relation to Valentine's Day, Groundhog Day. What is that?
We were engaged on Groundhog's Day in 1979.
1979, I got it right.
Right.
So it's a special memory. And we saw you guys talking. What do you think makes this community so great on Groundhog Day?
Everybody's just friends on Groundhog Day. There's no enemies here. They're all polite. We're here for kind of like the common fun, the common good. If there was an example of world peace, it would be Groundhog Day.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
And obviously the question is, do you guys think Phil will see his shadow?
Oh, I always get it. If he sees his shadow, is it more winter?
Yes.
We're winter people. We want him to see his shadow.
We
No,
don't.
We want more winter
You
in
want more
Florida.
winter?
Yes,
Oh,
we don't get
okay.
enough winter in Florida.
It's 81 degrees at our house today,
Yes,
so.
we need some more winter. At least 2 more days.
Yeah.
All right, thank you guys so much for talking with us. We're here with Dan McGinley from the Inner Circle for Groundhog Day. So what do you think is the most special thing about Groundhog Day?
Well, Phil's prediction, I mean, that's what everybody's here. We've built a lot around it, but it boils down to whether Phil sees a shadow or not. We've managed to stretch our holiday and ceremony of about 5 minutes into like 3 days. But what it boils down to is shadow, no shadow.
What do you think keeps people coming back year after year?
Well, it's very different. It's in the middle of the calendar where maybe not a lot else is going on. There's something very charming about it. There's tradition. There's, I don't know, there's a lot of different ways. It's quirky. There's a lot of different people that we meet, and they're all here for different reasons. So it's just sort of a melting pot of oddness.
And obviously this is something that's very special to you. What do you think is the most impressive, special part for you to be a part of this?
I'm amazed at the people who come from so far. And I can tell you, tomorrow we have tickets sold to 46 different states and 8 different countries. And so I'm always amazed to meet new people who come here for the first time from across the world. And I'm always amazed at the people that I meet who keep coming back from across the world. So it's never gets old.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Go Trojans!
Valentine's Day is right around the corner. Here's Nolan Montez with a ranking of romantic movies.
As we're approaching the most romantic time of the year, it's not a bad idea to check out some romantic movies. So that's what we're going to do. I'm Nolan Montez, and here we'll be ranking 5 romance films, not on how romantic they are, but on how well they are as a film overall. Here I have 5 randomly selected romantic films, and I'm going to place them on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the best and 5 being the worst. Let's get started. We're going to start off with number 5, the worst of the chosen films, that movie being The Great Gatsby, directed by Baz Luhrmann. This movie follows Nick Carraway as he befriends a mysterious, wealthy neighbor. This movie was just indescribable, but not in a good way. Baz Luhrmann took the concept of the famous F. Scott Fitzgerald novel and made it a flashy, messy, over-CGI'd monster, not to mention the incredibly awful dialogue said by Tobey Maguire's character. The fast camera movements are nauseating and displeasing to the eye, which led to this being a total dumpster fire. This movie gets a 3 out of 10, earning it the number 5 position. The next movie is Twilight, directed by Catherine Hardwicke, taking the number 4 spot. This movie follows Bella Swan as she finds herself in love with a mysterious, handsome, and especially shiny soulmate. Very popular opinion, this movie is just bad. The awful acting, dodgy CGI, and horrible dialogue overall brings this movie down. The story is lackluster, containing many plot holes that never get addressed, even in the later movies. The weird gray tone just makes this movie unappealing to look at. One thing that this movie has going for it is the use of the Cullen family. They're the most interesting thing about this movie, which is sad since it's not even about them. Their dynamic is super fun to watch, and all of the actors have great chemistry. This movie gets a 5 out of 10, earning it the number 4 spot. The number 3 spot has to go to Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, directed by Edgar Wright. This movie follows Scott Pilgrim as he falls in love with the mysterious Ramona Flowers, sending him into a spiral of battling her exes. This movie is just great. Edgar Wright's signature artistic style really shows in this film, making this one of the most creative movies out there, often having drawn animation that plays an important role in the film. The quick dialogue adds to the overall comedic tone of the film. It's witty, it's fast, and best of all, it's hilarious. The use of color is second to none. It's incredibly vibrant with bright reds, blues, and greens on nearly every character. This movie earns an 8 out of 10, giving it the number 3 spot. Now on to number 2, that being Her, directed by Spike Jonze. This movie follows a reclusive office worker who falls in love with an AI in his phone. This movie is amazing. The visuals, story, dialogue, and emotion, as well as the acting is just top notch. Her is an incredible feat in terms of the romance genre. Joaquin Phoenix is perfect for the role, and the acting is overall just amazing. There's not much else to say about Her, it's just an incredible movie. This movie gets a 9 out of 10, earning it the number 2 spot. Now, finally, the moment that you've all been waiting for, the number 1 spot. The best movie out of all of these that were selected goes to Moonlight, directed by Barry Jenkins. This movie follows the life of one man as he grows up in Miami. This movie is just wow, absolutely incredible, and wholeheartedly deserves the Oscar that it won. The lighting, colors, and shots composed are second to none. It's raw, intense, uplifting, and devastating. It's absolutely incredible. This movie gets a 10 out of 10, earning it the number 1 spot. Well, there you have it. We successfully ranked all of these movies with 0 opposing opinions. Mission successful. Thank you for watching.
With Valentine's Day quickly approaching, everyone's scrambling to figure out what to get their loved ones for this special holiday. Some people do plushies or flowers, even a nice night out at dinner, but we all know what the best gift is.
It's candy.
I'm Tara Merrick.
And I'm Jacob Barnett. And today we're going to be objectively ranking the best and worst Valentine's Day candies for this love-filled season.
So at the bottom of the ranking is 100% definitely candy necklaces and candy conversation hearts. They're both made of the same sugary rock material, and it's kind of disgusting to the point where it it's all just sugar, and then it builds up, and then it ends up having no flavor at all because it's all the same.
Right, like you said, it just tastes like you're eating a rock and or a stone, and all of the sugar that it just lost, and it just tastes like nothing, and it hurts your teeth more than anything. I remember I once lost a tooth because I ate one, and that's a true story. I was 6, but
So they're definitely awful. Their only perks are that the conversation hearts are fun to do to give to your friend and be like, ah, you're pretty, or whatever. And then the candy necklaces are only fun if you're in kindergarten. So they are 100% at the bottom, the very bottom, rock bottom, one might say, of our candy tier list.
Next on the list, coming in at about average tier, we have pink M&Ms. Now, for me, M&Ms are the best candy to have a snack-sized portion of. They're sweet, but not too sweet. The size is the best, like I said. The only thing is they kind of get your mouth, the color that they are, which is, it's obvious that you're eating them to your parents if you're not supposed to be.
And then the fact that they're pink during Valentine's Day means that it hides the color a little bit, but like you said, they're definitely in small portions, a great candy, but just not quite good enough to get up to the next tier.
Up next we have Dove Chocolate Hearts.
And with Dove chocolate, you can never really go wrong. It's a very good brand of chocolate. It's got the smooth, it's got the flavor. It's very, very good. And they do it all year round, especially around Valentine's Day. They have the heart version, the heart shapes of their chocolate. And it's it's the same chocolate. So it's not gotten any points on originality, but it is very good chocolate anyway.
It's just good old-fashioned chocolate, you know, and you just can't go wrong with it. You know what you're getting, you know what you're paying for. It's just a classic, and it's a fan favorite.
The only plus for originality it really gets is the little notes they have on the wrappers, but otherwise it's just chocolate, so we're keeping it in that middle tier. And the absolute top tier of this candy ranking, the S tier, drum roll if you please, is taken up by heart-shaped boxes of chocolates and chocolate-covered strawberries.
For me, the heart-shaped box of chocolates is one of the best because you're not quite sure what you're gonna get every time. It's a different experience. You can get ones with like fruit fillings or just chocolate, or sometimes it's not even chocolate. It's like some candy thing. And it's just really fun and exciting to see what you're gonna get. Plus there's a lot in the box usually, so it's good bang for your buck.
It's also a fun little gift, giving your partner or your friend your heart, which is fun since it's heart-shaped. So it definitely gets Valentine's Day points.
And then of course we're left with chocolate-covered strawberries. They're my personal favorite of all time because it's a perfect blend of fruit and chocolate. The texture that you get between biting off of the hard shell of the chocolate and then the soft strawberry is just heavenly. And it really provides for a great experience in your chocolate.
And it's a lot of fun as well. Is you sometimes get to dip the strawberries in the chocolate. If you ever seen the chocolate fountains in movies?
It's the best when you have your own fountain. You can just dip your own in there.
Yeah, and that's not exactly a common thing to have, but the idea of it is nice, even if you're just dipping it into a bowl of warmed up chocolate. And then sometimes you can decorate it with drizzling on like other types of chocolate, or also dipping it in like nuts or something. So with the variety that they provide, as well as just their pure goodness on their own, it's got to take up the #1 spot and be on the top tier of our candy ranking.
Absolutely. We hope this completely unbiased and absolutely factual ranking of the best and worst Valentine's Day chocolates and candies help provide some insight on what to get your loved one this Valentine's Day. For Parkland TV, I'm Jacob Barnett.
And I'm Tara Merrick.
That's all for tonight's episode. Have a great evening, Parkland. This is Ethan Silver signing off.